commence the meeting. I don't think it's necessary for me to read all the health and safety.
I'll be careful to go out there.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Catches fire, follow her.
Right. The only thing I will say is put your mobile phones or electronic devices on silent or turn them off, please. Item 1 on the agenda, apologies for absence.
Thank you. And there's apologies from Councillor Honeyman, who's at the district and parish conference tonight, and apologies from Councillors Lower and Latham, both from ill health. And Councillor Goodman is substituting for Councillor Lower.
Thank you. Disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosable pecuniary interests and interests other than pecuniary interests, as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Item 3, public participation. In accordance with Standing Order 3 and the Seaford Town Council policy, members of the public will be entitled to speak on general issues concerning this committee on non-planning application matters at this point. People wishing to speak on planning applications may do so immediately before each planning application.
Is there any update on the beach concern, Barngate, which I brought up months ago?
No, the situation on that is still, as I mentioned before, the shop or the charity have put in an application and it's got a reference number, but it hasn't been validated because it would appear that they haven't completed the requirements for plans. If I could explain to other members, it's a matter which Mr Hill complained about some time ago to me, that the Age Concern or Age UK charity shop, which is in the conservation area, have put up a wooden, what looks like a garden fence, a garden gate and fence with a trellis to stop people dumping donations, for want of a better word, in the porch. Because there's quite a big porch there, as you know, it's directly opposite. And can't blame them, I suppose, for wanting to close off the porch in some way, but it was a very sort of inappropriate design, which did, I mean, you might have seen it yourself, does stand out quite a bit, and not really in keeping with the area. And it was referred to the Lewis Enforcement Officer, and it was dealt with. They asked for an application as it was in a conservation area, and it was considered to be an alteration which had an effect, a material effect on the appearance of the conservation area, which means it, in a lot of cases, this sort of minor development in a shop would be permitted development, but in a conservation area, it's not. So they were asked to put in an application. We're talking about a process of about 4 months or so. Unfortunately, it's been that slow. As I say, there's an application with a reference, 587. I was told that by the enforcement officer, but I haven't had the notification of consultation period. You know, hasn't appeared on the weekly list as yet. So we're halfway there, if you like. I'll chase it up, but that's still the situation. They're sort of still waiting for some sort of plan to complete the set that they need before it's validated, but it will come to us as soon as it's validated and registered, if you like. So I'm sorry, I can't do any better than that. Okay.
And you can carry on with the planning.
Thank you very much. Right, item 4, planning applications weekend in the 9th of September. LW/1A/0725 80 Stafford Road. Who would like to comment? Right, Councillor Elton.
Thank you. Yeah, I like this one. I'll support this one. It's a good design as well, and nice drawings online. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, councillor Gifford. And can I have show of hands, please? Councillor Wallace.
Thank you.
Thank you. Planning applications weekend in the 16th of September, LW/1A/0730 to Downsview Road. Would you like to comment on this application? Councillor Elton?
Same again. I like the design. I thought it was sympathetic, and I would support this application.
Yeah, thank you, councillor Greenwood. Can I have show of hands of supporting this application? Thank you. Planning application week commencing the 21st September, LW/1H/0768, 16 Kingston Avenue. And planning officers kindly run off the plans as they work online.
Yeah, so has everyone got a copy?
Yeah.
Yes, it's apologies for the small scale of the plan, but I think it gives all the necessary details at relatively modest extension.
Yeah.
The details only appeared on the site around about 4 o'clock this afternoon, after I emailed and phoned the planning department about it. As I say, it's part of the teething problems of changing from one system to the other, but hopefully this plan gives all the necessary details.
Councillor Green.
I'd like to propose we support this application.
Second. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want to comment?
No, I'm saying, no, from looking at the block plan, it doesn't look out of place, does it?
Thank you. And can I have a show of hands, please, supporting? Thank you. Planning applications week commencing the 30th of September, there were none. Tree works, TW/0075/TCA for Lashington Hill.
Yes, apologies, I missed the 18 out of the reference on the original
Oh, yes.
agenda, but nothing appeared on the website anyway, so it wasn't much use to this. This also is that they're a bit late on putting any information on the website. It appeared about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and what was put on the website was just a simple email from the new owner to say that they wanted to consent to fell a sycamore which had had previous consent from the previous owner. The property had just changed hands this year. Previous owner early this year got consent to reduce it in order to provide more light to his property, along with reduction of, I think, 2 cherry trees, or the common holly tree at the front, I think, to provide more light. Obviously, he was thinking of selling the property and saw this as a benefit as vendor if he were to get the trees thinned. Now the new owner wants to apply to fell the sycamore, which the plan isn't professionally drawn, but you can see the sycamore in relation to the building. It's a tree in a conservation area, so it's not subject to a tree preservation order. The drill is that trees in conservation areas are protected, and if the owner wants to fell or work on the tree, he has to apply, or he or she has to apply, and then the local authority has to decide whether to okay the work or to make an order to preserve that tree. And so it's a question in this case of whether that tree is worthy of an order or whether the application can be approved. This is the only plan we have. This is a plan taken from the earlier application to thin the sycamore. As I say, the application is now to fell it. And Councillor Elton, I know, has had a look at the site on Google Earth.
I've got Councillor Green first.
Yeah, I propose to support it because it looks to me that the sycamore's taking up an awful lot of their garden and gives them a greater area for their garden to lawn or whatever. So I propose we support the application.
Is that fine, your seconder?
I'll second
Councillor Elton?
Yeah, I think I would support taking it down. It's just, when I looked at it, it doesn't look like a standard green sycamore, you know, gold standard garden variety. It looks like a sort of yellow variety, it doesn't, because they could be unusual. It looks really tall. I wouldn't want it near my house if it was that tall, especially in a high wind, it's potentially quite dangerous. It's a shame when they chop trees down, I always think, and it'd be quite nice if maybe we could recommend that they replant a small garden tree in its place. Maybe, I don't know.
Yes, I definitely think that might even be a sort of a requirement, but certainly we can mention
Yeah, because it's a conservation area, and what makes it a conservation area sometimes is all the trees, isn't it? And it will certainly be, I think you would miss it. It's such a significant tree, it's big, and I think, it would be good to have a smaller tree in its place. But
It depends how significant that tree is
yeah,
in the conservation area.
Mm.
This is in the front garden.
yeah, it's
rather than
large.
that.
It's not on the frontage. No.
It's a large tree.
Is the proposer be happy with a sort of a replanting mention?
Councillor Law.
I just think it's, I know it's west facing, so obviously it's going to affect some of the light on the building. We have great difficulty taking trees out where I work, and I always support Councillor Elton here and say if one comes out, at least one or two should go back of a smaller scale, and keep it balanced to the garden, and in a conservation and keep it an enhanced area, particularly for wildlife. So I will support the application on the proviso of at least one or two trees are put back in its place. And particularly west facing, the girls go that way.
You'll land on the house.
You'll land on the house,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they say, well, we wanted to cut it down. So I think, yeah, I support it, but I'd love it if they could put one or possibly two similar trees or similar shrubs back into the garden.
Councillor Freeman, would you be happy
Yeah,
with
fine.
that addition?
Absolutely.
Councillor Clifford?
Not really, no.
No?
Not planting any more trees, no.
So, with the addition, would you still support?
I will.
Yeah, okay. Right, so any other comments? So, can I have a show of hands of supporting this application, providing they're replaced by another
Yes.
one tree?
At least one or two.
At least
right?
one
Smaller
tree.
specimen or
One tree,
specimens
Yeah.
I'll be agreeing with
Planted
two, but
to keep the conservation balance in the garden and
Yeah.
the conservation area.
Yeah.
Appropriate garden tree.
Yeah, appropriate.
Yeah, so.
Appropriate specimen.
So can I have a show of hands, please? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5 on the agenda, the clustering of highway verges.
Yes, this has come, you asked for this to come back in October. There was a controversy quite early on in the process. County came to us far too late with a sort of suggested package for continuing with the 6 cuts. It was well beyond the time when the budget would be fixed, so there's no way we could have contributed the £13,000 required. So we had to just really wait to see, let nature take its course. But there were quite a few complaints early on in the process when residents realised that there was only going to be one cut in June and one in September. But as things turned out, I think there was a falling off of the complaints because of the long, hot summer meant that there wasn't the normal amount of growth at the normal times. And the September cut seemed to take care of what growth there was. And so the way things have turned out has been quite lucky. And we're in the same position this year, really, although the budget has yet to be fixed. It's still going to be difficult to find the 13,000 that they've asked for. And you know, whether it's a priority obviously is up to members. As the Planning and Highways Committee doesn't have a budget, if it were to ask for the money to provide the 6 cuts rather than the 2 free ones, then it would have to go to Community Services, who hold the planning budget, and it would sort of be a competing bid for funds alongside all community services items, being set against it. So, and go through the budget process that way. So really, it's up to planning committee to decide whether they would want to just leave things for another year to see how things turn out with 2 cuts in a normal summer, having got away with it this year, on the basis that in a lot of cases it's suspected that house owners carry out their own job, maybe on behalf of neighbours as well, and that county should react whenever there are concerns about traffic visibility. The grass on difficult corners, I think they have reacted in those cases, so that's good. 13,000, obviously, 13,431 is quite a sum, and as I say, it would have to compete against the other bids alongside community services. So it's really up to members as to whether they want to sit and allow the same 2 cuts next year, or ask for provision to be made in the budget for the 6 cuts. And obviously there's the other option of arranging it ourselves, which is not that welcome because it means dealing with another contractor, another contract, things could go wrong, and the administrative work involved with it could be quite onerous, if we want to do it ourselves. But the options are all set out there, and really it's for members to decide how they want to go forward.
Right. Councillor Elton, Councillor Freeman, and then Councillor Argent.
Thank you. We certainly dodged a bullet this year. Next year it's unlikely we'll do the same again. I suggest I think there'll be lots of complaints next year. People are very unsatisfied with it. Could we consult the general public in terms of what they would like to do? Could we ask people, could we put council tax up and give them grass cuts? Is that something we could do? I don't know.
I think we could, but then there's probably a lot of services that are subject to reductions or increases, and people would say, well, if you're asking us about verges, why not this, that, and the other? We've got Facebook and Twitter. We could do a sort of sample,
How do people feel?
testing the water, if you like, on that. But as I say, if we were to do it on that, then we might open a can of worms.
Yeah.
Councillor Freeman.
I'm of the opinion that 2 cuts per year may be too few, but I feel that 6 is too many. And rather than a random number of cuts per year in stone, would it be possible to have a budget for this item which went up to, say, 4 cuts, and to cut them ad hoc basis as it becomes necessary?
I think we could only do that by accepting the 6,715 from the county, which is the estimate cover for the 2 cuts that we're sort of entitled to, if you like, or that they've deemed that we're entitled to. And then, in making our arrangements ourselves with our own contractors, bump it up to 4. And that would probably, on the county's financial estimates, that would probably mean an extra 3,000 or 4,000 to find, over and above the 6,715 that the county would give us. But having said that, the making our own arrangements with contractors has sort of administrative implications, and the money that we receive, even the 6,715, there's no guarantee that would cover the entire costs of the 2 cuts with the contractor. It's just what the county estimate, and so we would have to estimate, put an estimate on it ourselves, and bid for that money through the process, as I say. So it's possible, but it's possible to go for 3 or 5 if we were to get the contractors involved ourselves. But having spoken to James about this, he I know is reluctant to take on another responsibility, dealing with another set of contractors. We deal with, I can't remember their names, over the Burley's, that's it, over the, so, Burley's it could be an extension to that contract. We haven't really gone into it in that much detail. But, so it's, yes, it's a possibility, and it could be, if it's decided that you want to follow that course, be a report to the next meeting of the Community Services Committee, which is I think the middle of next month, a report on what budget it will require, you know, to have whatever number of cuts with our own contractors that you decide. So you know, it's relatively flexible in that respect, but it would need a budget.
Councillor Arthur?
How much do we actually pay Sussex County Council then?
We don't pay them anything.
Oh,
It's
it's on their council.
This is
tax.
part of their responsibility as highway authority, basically.
Oh,
It's sort
right,
of,
yeah.
you know, just as they mend the roads, they cut the verges sort of as part of the package.
And Burleys are the one that usually do the cuts, are they?
No.
No, Burnleys do our parks and stuff,
I
don't
think
they?
town council.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
couldn't we get a rough estimate or something like that from?
From Burleys, as to how many, yeah, or from a contractor, yes, yeah. I don't know if the county council do theirs direct, or whether they must have a contractor, I don't know. Yeah. So, we haven't gone into it in that much detail. These are the sort of
Yeah.
basics, really, because the budget is still, you know, a way off. I mean, this is a very early stage in the budget process.
Yes,
Luckily, we know they've come to us early enough,
Yeah.
to set out the different options. And as I said, the bids will start, as far as this committee is concerned, through community services in November, and on to full council in January, I think.
Yeah,
So yeah, we've got time to go into a little bit more detail if that's what
yes,
you
I
want.
think we need a bit more information.
Yeah, so
Because we also have Lewis District Council who do odd plots of land throughout the
Mhm.
town.
so
We could approach them.
so to find out the cost of, say,
Yeah.
3 or 4 cuts.
Yeah.
But I think,
Or two.
yeah, I mean,
Even one cut would make a difference.
that's what I think. Have
Mm.
one at the beginning, one in the end, and one in the middle,
Yeah.
just for next year, and see how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll get maybe
But I think it's typical of these Sussex County Council passing things on to
Yeah.
town and
Yeah.
parishes like they did with the salt bins.
I mean,
What about a price per cut?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're saying a cut in June and September.
Mm,
The grass peaks often in May,
That's
actually.
right.
And
yeah.
if you could get a cut before June, just one cut we could potentially pay for, and then maybe a second cut
3,350 for one
in
cut.
July, so we paid for 2 cuts, then I'm just thinking that might take the sort of steam out of it, really, and
Major loan.
just maybe a price per
Right,
cut,
yeah.
because even one extra
You need-
cut,
I mean, you can't,
If we do it
if we
ourselves.
have a wet summer,
yeah,
then that grass is going to be sky high by the
yeah,
time
and
you
it's
get
the
to
length of it
September.
once it's cut. But if they could get one cut in May, and then the county council do theirs in June, and then you get another one after that potentially, that would be useful, that would be
I mean-
better.
So 2 early cuts.
It's almost going from one extreme to the other, isn't it? Going from 6 to 2, I think.
Also,
Yeah.
county council are very keen on saying, well, if you can match funds, so if we offer to do one, will they increase theirs to 3?
Yeah,
They're very keen doing match funding,
Well, then,
so match them at their own game.
I think they're quite, looking at my own parish's minutes, they've given them a similar offer of,
Mm.
6 or 2. I think that's what they're fixed on, but I could always go back to them. But basically, you're wanting us to get an estimate for the price of to accept, you're veering towards the option of accepting the 6,715 and going to a contractor for those 2 cuts, which that money should pay for, plus another one, 3 cuts, but get an estimate for 4 cuts as well at the same time. And then come
We
Mm.
really need one
cost per
cut.
cut,
No,
really.
could
One
come-
cut.
We just
to-
know what one cut would cost, and then we can take it from there.
We
couldn't
could
we?
try and come back to the next meeting in 3 weeks' time. I wouldn't have thought it would take them too long to come up with estimates. And then you could decide whether to put it, what if anything, to put forward to community services on November the 15th.
Cost per cut, then you know, don't we?
Yeah. Well, if we went to a contractor, we'd find out whether the price that's quoted by the county is realistic.
Mm.
You know, the 3,350 something, whatever, that they've estimated per cut.
And would it be worthwhile asking LDC if they
Yeah.
can include a cut when they do other pieces of land? Because I know they're up round our way a couple of times a year, 3 times
What
a
they're
year.
doing amenity land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Because we do.
Just,
Sorry, that's all.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a quick one. I deal with contractors who cut verges and we're in my local authority, and we have the same problem with 2 contractors. And 2 contractors do a job, it's always their bit of land which the person should do, or vice versa. So if you're going to go down the route of having, I fully support what Councillor Allen says, we should have a price per cut. I think 3 cuts here is plenty. What we don't want is get another contractor involved, because then, oh, well, I didn't know I was going to cut this and I've missed this, and you're forever chasing them up. And believe you me, one person spends his entire week chasing contracts up with bits of land which should have been cut and not been cut. It's down to council. So I think what we should do is, I think we should apply for cost per cut, and I think 3 cuts should basically pull us out of the fire. And I think I support Councillor Allen's idea of cost per cut, and if we can afford a 3rd cut, then we should put an application for a 3rd cut, and if we can fund it, because I think next year, I think it's an election year as well, and the first thing you're going to say is, why have the verge not been cut? And I think for sake of 3 or 4 grand for an additional cut, I think it's money well spent. That's my own opinion. I know it's difficult to get another contractor involved.
Do birdies do that sort of thing?
What versions?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would do, yeah.
Birdies do.
Quite a few verges in the town, though, isn't there? I mean, I want to know what their figure and justifies that. But I've just worked this out, the 2 cuts, you've got £6,115. If they do 6 cuts, it comes to 21,145.
Yeah, there's not.
So where did they get the 14,300?
It doesn't equate. Well, if I were to go to contractors to get quotes, then that figure would be,
Yeah. And 4
That's
cuts would be
really
14,130.
I
yeah.
think just one additional cut, that's all we need, and that just pulls out.
Right, well, you've given me some options there. Hopefully I'll be able to get some information back for you for the 1st of November. Because we've got making the most of the time available for the budget meeting. Okay. Well, you need
Yeah.
a
So
proposal.
can I have a proposal that we ask Jeff to get these prices? Okay, and second it.
I'll second that.
Yeah,
Right,
and
thank you.
a show of hands, please. Thank you. Yes, members. Agenda item 6, to note the contents of the report. I think there's just one update.
There's a couple of little updates, nothing spectacular. I circulated an email to say that the refusal of buildings had come through just after the agenda was published. The grounds for refusal were the same as for the first application. This is the bungalow in the back garden at 18 Floor Road. Detrimental to the character of the conservation area by reason of the loss of the introduction of a rear garden location, the widening of the access onto Fell Road, the loss of the flint boundary wall, contrary to policy, backland development, contrary to specific policy in the local plan relating to backland development, ST4, and harm to the living conditions of the neighbouring occupiers by way of use of the vehicular access, noise and disturbance from the passage of vehicles along the new drive. And that's against the general policy ST4 of the preservation of residential amenity type policy. So I think they were the same grounds as before, so I think the owner will now probably go to appeal and get a final decision. But, so we'll keep you updated on that.
Also, I can get back to the neighbours doing sending about 10 emails a day about
You can have the notice of, if you're dealing with it personally,
well, yeah.
help you out by giving you the notice of refusal.
Thank you, Your Worship.
And the other item, minor enforcement item, we dealt with a retrospective application a few meetings ago for a boundary
Oh,
fence,
thanks.
St Peter's Road, St Peter's Close. That has now been moved back. The owner has complied by moving it away from the highway edge.
That's right.
The enforcement officer told me that it had been dealt with. Again, it was just after the report was published, so I thought I'd add that item to the update report. Other than that, there's nothing more to comment on.
Okay, so item noted.
Yes. It was 25 St Peter's Road was the fence.
That's right.
Okay, so that concludes the meeting at 7:31.
At 7:30.